Pete, where are you right now?
Huh? Mom? Why are you texting me right now?
I've got something I need to ask you. Do you have a second to chat?
I'm a little bit busy right now, but what is it?
Seems like you're not home right now. Where are you?
Huh? Did you go to my place? I don't remember you ever saying you'd be making your way over.
I came by to share some things I received as gifts, but when I rang the doorbell, no sound came from inside. I thought you might have gone out, or maybe even turned off the sound because you'd be going out for a while.
Well, that's actually true. Right now, Mary and I are on a little getaway, just the two of us at a hot spring resort. We're even in the mixed bath right now.
I see. A hot spring trip, huh?
Yeah, we decided last minute that we'd take a trip together this weekend. Mary had been wanting to go to this particular hot spring inn, so I booked it. The mixed bathing was the selling point for me.
Well, as long as you two are getting along, that's what matters.
Yeah, but I should probably get going soon. We still need to get to the inn's souvenir shop before it closes. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll even get you a little something as a souvenir.
Oh, that's sweet of you, thank you. Now, before you go, there's just one more thing.
What is it?
Mary. She's been left in the bathtub at home, but she's still got a broken bone.
What?
She was forced into the bathroom, and when she slipped, she lost her balance and ended up falling into the tub. Of course, I'd already rescued her, and we've called an ambulance. She's been treated at the hospital and is staying there. It's not really an emergency that needs to be reported, since it doesn't seem too serious.
Wait a second. It sounds like you're thinking I did something to her, but that's not the case. Mary's been with me the whole time.
Huh?
I made sure to lock up properly before leaving, and there's no way anyone else, let alone Mary, would be in the house. You think there's some doppelganger impersonating her? And why would she be stuck in the bathtub with a broken bone? What kind of crazy situation is that?
Well, but I rang the doorbell and nobody answered. I heard a loud noise from inside, so I started to worry something had happened. I'm sorry, but I used the spare key I've been keeping, and I went inside.
Wait, you have a spare key?
Yes, we decided a while ago that we'd each keep a spare key to each other's places in case of emergencies. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it to you before.
I don't remember that.
Anyway, when I went inside and looked around, I checked the bathroom, and there was Mary, unconscious in the bathtub, still with water in it and a broken bone.
No, wait, it's not that strange for us to leave a bathtub filled with water for a short trip like this. But again, I'm telling you, Mary is with me, and this is a picture we took before we got into the hot spring. The hotel staff took it for us.
Wait, is that Mary? Oh, what is going on?
Oh, wait just a second. Mary's saying she thinks that woman might be her twin sister.
Her twin sister? Now that you mention it, I remember Mary talking about that when we visited for the marriage introduction. She said that her parents always favored her twin sister and that after graduating high school, she was practically kicked out of her parents' house. She hasn't been back to visit in almost 10 years.
Ah, so it's kind of like they've been estranged then. I'm not sure why her twin sister would have been at our place, but if there really are two people who look that alike, then maybe Mary's the one getting confused.
So you're saying the person in the hospital now might actually be her sister?
Yeah, the twin's name is Bailey, I think. There's a chance Bailey is either mistaken about what happened or maybe even making up some story.
Well, either way, I hate to ask, but you should cut your trip short and come home. This is your place, and I can't handle all this by myself.
Got it. But I drove here, and both Mary and I had some drinks, so I can't drive back just yet. I'll have to wait until tomorrow morning when the alcohol wears off before we can leave.
Well, I guess it's the only choice then. I understand. Good morning, Mary. Can you use your smartphone?
Yes, Laura.
My aunt, who just arrived here, is going to help me input things for you, if that's okay. Oh, the one who cares about you the most out of all your relatives, right? Yes, that's her. Well, if that's the case, I don't mind at all. In fact, this is because of my foolish son, so it's good for someone who's helping you to know the situation. Then, if you don't mind, I'll take advantage of your kindness and proceed. First, thank you for preparing a temporary smartphone for me. As I mentioned yesterday, my own smartphone was taken away by Bailey. It's been a huge help. It's nothing. It's a prepaid phone, so it might be a bit inconvenient, but it's better than not having one at all. Yes, thank you very much. Now, please allow me to report the situation so far. Go ahead. First of all, as you suspected, my foolish son seems to have gone on a trip to the hot spring with Bailey. When I explained the situation here, he tried to cover it up by saying Mary was with me and it was Bailey who ended up in the hospital. I see, so that's what happened. He even sent me a picture of the two of them taken at the inn. But even if it was just by chance, knowing how to tell the two of you apart made it backfire on him. By sending that picture, he basically proved himself that it was Bailey who was with him on the trip. I never expected that casual conversation would actually be useful. It really was just by chance, but the way I taught you to tell the two of us apart, I never mentioned it to Kiyoshi. I never thought that the two of them would actually have a chance to cross paths, so that's what happened, huh? Anyway, I've been getting a flood of messages from Kiyoshi just now. I need to deal with those for a moment. Thank you for your help.
Mom! This is bad!
What's wrong?
Bailey was taken away!
You've already made it back home, right?
Yes. When I got home, I found a middle-aged couple waiting at the front door. They yelled at Bailey and slapped her, then just took her away. What's going on?
Pete, don't you feel like what you're saying is a bit contradictory?
Contradictory?
Who was taken away by that couple waiting for you?
Bailey!
Who was it that went on the trip with you?
Huh? Oh, sorry, I got flustered and mixed up the names. Oh, I can't believe I made a mistake with my wife's name. I need to calm down and think straight. It was Mary who was taken away.
Pete.
Hey, what am I supposed to do?
You need to realize that everything's already been figured out.
Let
me tell you something. I know how to tell Mary and Bailey apart.
What?
When you two had just gotten married, I happened to have the chance to learn it from Mary. She said it was something that Bailey herself probably didn't even realize. Not many people can tell the two apart using that method. She mentioned that.
What's this method? I just tell them apart by their hairstyles and clothing preferences. When we were on the trip, I had Mary wear a wig to match her usual hairstyle so no one would catch on.
You really think now is the right time to be telling me this?
But still.
I think by now you understand that the one rescued from the bathtub and hospitalized is Mary. Pete, it was Bailey who you took on the hot spring trip. No, the affair trip. Your relationship has been exposed, and the couple who took Bailey away were Mary and Bailey's parents.
What? Those people are their parents? Why? Why are their parents suddenly involved?
Recently, a company had been persistently offering us a deal, and when Mary realized that it was her father's company, she told me about it.
Wait, seriously?
At first, I didn't think it would be a reason to turn down the deal, but then the incident in the bathtub happened, and your affair with Bailey came to light.
This is really bad, huh?
So I suggested to Mary's father, even though this situation is personal, it's clear that it's a disadvantage for both of our companies. How about we settle it by having you two who committed the infidelity pay Mary a lump sum for the damages, and we agree to cut off all future business dealings between our companies.
And what happened after that?
The proper response will likely come soon. For now, the reply I received was, "We'll pick up Bailey right away." So they arranged to ambush you when you returned home.
I see. I thought sending the photo of the two of us together during the trip would make it hard to tell us apart since we're twins. But instead, it ended up being the concrete proof that confirmed the affair.
Pete, you're disowned.
Huh?
Decide for yourself whether you stay at the company or not.
What? I have no choice but to stay. I'm supposed to be the next president, after all.
Huh? Did I ever say that?
But my mom is the president.
So?
My grandfather was the first president, my dad was the second, and my mom's the third. When Dad passed away, I was still a student, so I was supposed to take over when I was old enough, right?
What are you talking about? We're arranging for the current executive director to take over as president next year.
What? He's not even related to our family.
I'm just choosing someone who's fit to be the leader of the company. It's strange to cling to a hereditary system when thinking about the future of the company. And also, Mary is moving forward with the divorce, so you should prepare for that.
Are you serious?
Mary, how are you feeling? I'm doing okay. It looks like I'll be able to leave the hospital in a few days. The doctors say that I'll still need crutches for a little while, but I should be able to get back to work by next month. I'm looking forward to returning to my routine, even if it's going to take some time to fully recover. That's such a relief to hear, but I want to remind you not to push yourself too hard. You've been through a lot recently, dealing with the divorce, the hospitalization, and everything else on top of that. It's understandable if you're feeling both physically and mentally exhausted. Well, you're right about that. I am tired, and things have been overwhelming at times. But I think the best thing for me right now is to get back to my normal life as quickly as possible. There's something comforting about getting back into the rhythm of daily routines, you know. I completely understand. Sometimes getting back to normal is the best thing for your recovery. Thank you so much for your concern, though. It means a lot to me that you're thinking of me. Oh, and speaking of things, there's something I should probably mention to you. What is it? It seems your father has been removed from his position as company president. Wait, really? That's unexpected. Yeah, it turns out that the business deal with us was a huge opportunity for the company, a make-or-break mission that would determine their future. However, when the president's daughter messed things up, the people in the company started demanding that he be held accountable. The situation ended with your father being removed from his role as president. It's a bit of a mess right now. Oh, I see. That's quite the turn of events. Well, to be honest, I'd rejected that deal multiple times, even before all the chaos started. But I can imagine that your father was shocked. Yeah, I can only imagine. It must have been a huge shock for him, especially considering how things unfolded. He probably never anticipated that the daughter he's estranged from would be married to the son of the very company president they were negotiating with. And to top it off, that his youngest daughter would try to steal his wife's husband. It must have been a lot for him to process. Well, about that, it seems like my sister and Pete met by sheer coincidence. But as they spent more time together, Pete eventually revealed that he was the son of the company president and that his wife was my twin sister. At some point, my sister realized who he was, and knowing what had been going on, decided to invite Pete to join her. The misunderstanding where Pete was thought to be the next president was simply an error in judgment on their part. It wasn't intentional. And that's not just Pete's fault either. Honestly, where did we go wrong with how he was raised? I feel like I've caused you nothing but trouble, and I'm sorry. It's all been a mess, and I regret it. No, you don't have to apologize. It's not your fault. My family has caused you trouble, and I want to apologize for that. I know it hasn't been easy on you either. You know what? Once you're out of the hospital, how about we go out for a meal together? It doesn't matter that we're no longer mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, but the relationship we've built in the company is still important. I really don't want things to be awkward or tense between us. You're someone I've come to rely on, and I don't want to let anything damage that. Thank you. That really makes me happy to hear. I'm relieved that you're still willing to work together despite everything. I've always appreciated your support, and I look forward to continuing our professional relationship. Of course, and I'm sure we'll both be able to keep our personal and professional lives separate without letting anything interfere. I've always trusted you, and I hope we can move forward without any more complications."
Yes, I agree. It's important for both of us to keep things civil and professional. I really appreciate that you're still willing to have this conversation despite everything that's happened.
Absolutely. Life can throw so many unexpected challenges at us, but it's how we handle them that matters in the end. I'm glad we're able to speak so honestly about everything, and I'm confident we'll both come out of this stronger.
I completely agree. I've learned a lot from this experience, and I know we both want what's best for the future. Let's continue to support each other moving forward.
I'm glad we see eye to eye on this.
Thank you for being understanding and willing to put everything behind us. I'm sure things will work out for the best.
You're welcome. Let's move forward with positivity and focus on the future. I'm looking forward to continuing our work together.
Likewise, thank you again for your understanding and for taking the time to speak with me. I really appreciate everything.
Of course, it's the least I can do. Let's keep working together and make sure that everything gets back on track. Bailey's situation was difficult. After her parents' divorce, the entire family was torn apart, and she found herself having to fend for herself. It was a challenging time for her, as the separation had left a deep mark on everyone involved. The emotional toll was immense, and without any other option, she had to face the harsh reality of being alone. In order to survive, she had to look for ways to secure her living arrangements. The options available to her, however, were far from ideal. She sought out married men, hoping to find some form of financial stability, something that could get her through each day. Her decisions, however, didn't come without consequences. As it often happens in such situations, her actions led to yet another messy scandal, with accusations of misconduct and requests for compensation. It seemed as though each time she tried to secure a way of life, it only led to more problems and legal entanglements. Now she found herself in a position where she had to rely on a job that required her to put her body to use in order to make ends meet. It wasn't a situation she had envisioned for herself, but it was the reality she faced. Each day she had to make tough choices to ensure she could pay her bills and maintain a roof over her head. The cycle of seeking financial support from others only to face humiliation and new challenges was something she had become all too familiar with, yet, despite it all, Bailey kept pushing forward, finding a way to survive each day. Then there was my son, Pete. Unlike Bailey, Pete didn't have debts, but he wasn't in a much better position. While he was debt-free, he also lacked the savings necessary to provide for himself with any security. His life, therefore, was a constant struggle, living paycheck to paycheck. He found himself struggling to make ends meet every single day. It wasn't just about making ends meet. It was about living with the constant stress of not knowing if tomorrow would bring more hardship. He had no financial cushion to fall back on, no savings account to dip into when things got tight. In many ways, Pete's life was a reflection of the uncertainty that had plagued him. He had hoped for a better future, but without the necessary resources or stability, his dreams often felt just out of reach. One of the biggest challenges Pete faced was his lack of special skill or ability that would set him apart from the competition. He didn't have a unique talent or qualification that could guarantee him a good job, something that could elevate him above the rest. Instead, Pete found himself in a job market that was increasingly competitive, with fewer opportunities available for people without specific skills or experience. Despite his best efforts, he wasn't able to land a decent job. He aimed high, hoping to find something that would allow him to live a more comfortable life. But his expectations often exceeded what he was qualified for. His high hopes and ambition weren't enough to overcome the lack of practical experience or a clear career path. Each failed job application and each missed opportunity added to the frustration, making him feel more lost and disconnected from the success he had once envisioned. Now Pete's life had come down to day labor. It wasn't glamorous, and it certainly wasn't the dream he had for himself, but it was the reality he had to face. Every day he worked hard, barely making enough to survive. The hours were long, the work was physically demanding, and the pay was minimal. Yet it was the one thing that kept him afloat. With each passing day, he pushed himself to keep going, to find a way to keep surviving. The stress of living paycheck to paycheck was unrelenting. It seemed as though no matter how hard he worked, there was always something that drained him. Whether it was the rising cost of living, the uncertainty of his future, or the constant pressure to do more with less. The struggles of both Bailey and Pete were a reminder of how quickly life could spiral out of control.
What seemed like a simple issue, whether it was a bad decision, a missed opportunity, or an inability to plan for the future, could quickly lead to a chain of events that altered the course of someone's life. For Bailey, it was a series of poor choices that left her in a precarious situation, relying on relationships with married men and eventually ending up in a job she never imagined. For Pete, it was the failure to develop marketable skills and the inability to find stable employment that left him living paycheck to paycheck, always struggling to stay afloat. The weight of their struggles was overwhelming, and it seemed as though there was no easy way out. While I dealt with my own difficulties, I watched my children struggle, each in their own way, and it left me feeling conflicted. On one hand, I understood the pressures they faced and sympathized with their struggles. On the other hand, I couldn't help but feel frustration, knowing that they were not doing enough to change their situations. The choices they made led them down difficult paths, and now they were facing the consequences. It was hard to watch, especially knowing that there was only so much I could do to help. Eventually, after a period of constant turmoil, things began to settle down. The family drama and the financial struggles seemed to have calmed, and there was a brief sense of peace. It was at this point that I made the decision to step down from my role as president of the company. I had been in charge for so long, and the responsibility had taken a toll on me. It was time for me to let go, to allow someone else to take over the reins and steer the company in a new direction. I chose to pass on the position to the executive director, someone I trusted to guide the company into the future. With the leadership transition complete, my focus shifted. I decided to focus on expanding our operations internationally, particularly in China, where we had an opportunity to establish a new base. This was a critical time for the company, and I knew that it was important for us to establish a strong presence in the Chinese market. To help me with this, I brought on Mary, who had made a remarkable recovery from her previous issues, as my assistant. Mary was a loyal and capable individual, and I knew that she would be invaluable in helping me navigate this new venture. Together we headed to China, where we would face the challenges of establishing a new business presence in a foreign market. The road ahead was not easy, and there would be many obstacles to overcome, but it was an exciting time, a new beginning, a fresh start, and a chance to make a lasting impact. As I reflected on the journey that had brought me to this point, I couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation for what was to come. I had faced my own struggles and had watched my children face theirs. But now it was time to focus on the future, on new opportunities, and on building something that would make a difference. In many ways, this new chapter felt like a chance for redemption. It was a chance to rebuild, to create something meaningful, and to find success in a new environment. With Mary by my side and a renewed sense of purpose, I was ready to take on the challenges ahead. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I was determined to make it work. After everything that had happened, I was ready to embrace the new opportunities that lay before me, knowing that this was my chance to make a fresh start.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.